Hello and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and nerdy-ass Tumblr users transcend geography through the power of Skype to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Uh, Today we are missing an Antheus, apropos of, well, that really. Happy Canada Day! But he's our actual resident Canadian, and he is off seeing family. So first up is going to be his usual quiet self, and any comment I might happen to make from him, let's hope he approves. I'm going to Jaeger the man. This always scares me.
Okay.
In any case, the Cupcake Coterie is currently in the rather large city of Belarus, trying to get the means to deal with, among other things, a black dragon that is currently posing as the king of the nearby country of Baronsvir, which is most of their homes. Um, they did a favor for the governor of the province that they're in, who happens to be an ancient bronze dragon, but that's a whole other thing. They were sent out to deal with sea hags. Turned out it wasn't quite sea hags. It was something rather nastier than sea hags, bigger and with a lot more magic, and it got kind of stupid kind of fast. But they persevered. They survived. It was a bit of a thing. So as soon as they got back from that, and you know, patched themselves up at least a little bit, and changed out of the mucky clothes they were wearing, they went to visit the governor and were told that Torin would have some things to say about what they needed to collect for Jenna to make the Dragon Slayer sword that they're after when they see him that afternoon. As they are leaving, though, the little dragonborn page chases after them, carrying a fairly large bag that he's nearly sort of doubled under the weight of. Wait, you're new to this adventurer thing, aren't you?
Huh?
A
Most
bit.
most adventuring bands and mercenary companies, they ask for the payment before like 3 sentences, and you guys forgot.
Oh. Oops.
It was more a politeness thing.
I
It's been a
mean,
long day.
yeah, I kind of okay. I didn't. I thought we were okay.
You did a service for the governor, and there might have been information attached to that, but there's still money. Did you not want
Oh.
money?
We're good with money.
No. By all means, yes. By all means, I would like to get paid.
Okay.
Considering that's how this whole thing started. Long story.
And then this guy's okay. First thing, who handles the party funds?
That would be me.
Clarity.
Puts down the sack. Clink. There's a chang of coin in there. Pulls out a bag and hands it to Clarity. That's to go into the party funds. Inside is 50 platinum.
Holy shit.
Uh. Next question. Who dealt the killing blow?
That would be
The roped one there.
Melissa.
Somebody's going to have to tell him about this later. First, just gives a sort of a yeah kind of nod. Okay, and then that ends up as the sack he's given is about the same size as Clarity's, a little smaller. There's 30 gold in that one. The rest of you get bags of 20 gold each. Party funds tend to be the most important bit because that's where you get your bits and pieces and So yes,
You.
you now have your monies.
Yeah.
It might actually occur to a couple of you that unless you did it without telling the DM, you kind of forgot to pay for your rooms last night. They were nice about it because the flitty thing.
Mm.
We're gonna have to pay them back.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, we
It's
did.
it's as you're holding the jingling money pouches and dealing with the
It's like ching ching things we can pay for things. We have to pay for things.
Yeah,
Oh,
we could do that.
geez, we were so exhausted and wrung out, we completely forgot to cover last night. Maybe we should cover a few days in advance.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't have a running tab going? I wasn't there when you booked the room.
Yeah, did
We'll figure it out.
you kind of left it vague, but you paid for your
Yeah, I
you
think we
paid
did
for your
kinda
first
yeah.
night, and all she said was keep on top of it, and the very next day you didn't.
We need to go back and immediately fix the problem.
Yeah, and then we'll go to Arcane Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then we go see, let's see, so we Arcane Inc. and then we go see Torin and then
No.
dinner.
No, it was
No.
It was
Chris
dinner.
runs.
It was dinner then Torin, because you were gonna use having to see Torin after his performance as an out in case dinner got awkward. Now, let's face it. Hazel and Clarity probably have places they'd love to see as well, because this is an awfully big city and you've only seen bits of it.
Yeah, I have a list.
Knowing Hazel, checked it twice. Made sure everything was on it. And I'm sure you still forgot stuff.
There are things I want to do involving my finger and your ear, but I won't do them.
You're learning.
And there's Nye with that look on his face.
I have. Not going to say that out loud.
Sort of standing behind everyone and just kind of looking back and forth.
We have great number of running, not really running gags. I guess maybe just that way. Anyway.
Yes, thankfully, the Bravo's Boast is actually on your way to market, and when you get there, you do get flitty sort of flap, 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 flap. You're okay!
Yep. And in one piece. More or less or more.
And it flits around you, butting everybody in a sort of cheerful kind of way.
We missed you. But we're glad you're okay.
Yeah, I think because you smell of like seawater and blood and other things, and I don't think I would have managed very well. You get this mental image of the tidal wave hitting Flitty.
Oh, do not need that.
Yeah, I visibly shudder at that thought.
In Sylvan, I'm gonna say it was very soggy. And the hag was huge.
Excuse me one moment.
I'm kind of sad I missed it, but I'm kind of sad I'm kind of not too, because that sounded not very fun.
Another person got turned into something.
But it wasn't me. But it was a bird. Nah, here got turned into a bird.
Aw, I could have I could have taken you flying.
That ended poorly.
He turned back into a person in the air.
Yeah.
Maybe if you know you're going to turn back into a person, you
He
don't fly.
Yeah, it didn't know.
Well, you knew he was gonna turn back eventually.
Well, yeah.
Maybe you
But
stay on
there
the
was-
ground.
Well, there was a darkness field involved, and now I wanted to get above it to be able to see, and
Forgot that the bubble was that he had to go up to get out of the.
well, yeah, and then
He could have
yeah.
gone sideways if it was a bubble.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he could have.
yeah. I didn't think of that.
Done a lot of things, honestly. But I don't know why he went up.
I was trying to look over the bubble while trying to be able to retreat inside the bubble if the thing looked at me again, and I didn't know I would turn back ever.
I mean,
But
that's
it
fair.
sounds like a polymorph. Polymorph always turns back.
That I
Well,
don't-
I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, but that's why
Frankly,
That's why I'm telling you now. Some of
I figured if they made it, I'd come down and sit on someone's shoulder and look sad, and if they didn't, at least maybe I could get away and try to get some help. Maybe like draw in on something with a whatever birds have talons.
I'm just picturing a bird trying to peck out a code.
Talons
Tap
might
tap tap
be
tap
overstating
tap 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 tap.
and Flitty's just head tilted, looking at Nye. Flies.
I was I
Flies.
was not good at making plans at the moment. I was a bird brain.
it.
Flies up and sort of hovers so it could take the little front paw and pat.
Welcome to the family, Nye.
I think maybe you're always brain of bird. But that means you fit in really, really well.
Exactly. Welcome to the family. We're all made up of various levels of stupid at times, so but we muddle through.
I think things are starting to get a little more in the way of busy because you had your lunches on the way out. You're not quite at dinner yet, but Orin is in his kitchen area sorting things out, and Jed and Jazz are getting to their usual busy routine.
I'm gonna head over to that bar actually.
Clarity.
Yeah, I'm going to since I've got the money.
Well, yeah, we go over to.
Well, it depends on which bar Hazel's heading to.
No, I'm headed to the bar with the bartenders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
well, we can go to the other one.
there's the three bars. There's Orin's cooking, there's Jed and Jazz's drinks, and there's Maury's sort of concierge desk.
Yeah,
Drink bar.
Maury's. Clarity, you and I need to go see Maury.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll deal with Maury first. She's just checking over the rosters. Oh, hello. How did your meeting with the governor go?
Oh, just fine. But we realized on the way out that we were so wrung out and frankly exhausted after everything that we'd forgot to cover our rooms.
Well, I wasn't exactly going to make a big deal about it. You nearly lost a member of your party.
Fair.
I figured you'd remember eventually, and if not, I was sure that Orin would remind you.
Fair. But thank you for being so gracious. What do we owe you?
Well, it was 20 silver a night per room, and that's 2 rooms. So, are you staying tonight as well?
I believe so, aren't we?
I think so.
So
Yeah, I
it's
don't think
it's
we have any reason to head out yet.
well, in which case it's the cost for the rooms last night and tonight. And if you'd like to pay a couple of days in advance, that's entirely up to you. But you didn't. It was just that you didn't seem to know how long you were going to be staying, so it seemed a little better to do it on a day-to-day basis, not knowing that you all were going to get poisoned in my bar.
Which won't happen again. That
Well,
whole
not
situation-
from that
Hopefully.
not from that particular source, anyway.
Well, I'm sure you've probably heard.
Oh, I heard about that part, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I don't know what kinds of enemies you have or don't.
That's a good point. Well,
You're not very.
So, 80 gold for last night and tonight?
silver.
Yes. Silver. Yes.
Silver?
Yes. So that would be 8 gold total for
Oh, okay.
last night and tonight.
hand it over.
Thank you very much.
And we'll play further days a bit more by ear. We should have a better idea, possibly later on tonight, as to how long we might.
You might want to save actually telling me about it for the morning though, because you know how we get in the evenings.
Oh yes, of course. Right, and I'll go back to the table. We've had lunch.
Yeah, and
Wait,
lunch isn't here
yes.
anyway, and Hazel is at the bar, and Jed and Jazz. Zoop. Can we help you?
Well, this is just thanks, and I put 4 gold on the bar.
Zip round the bar, kiss on each cheek, zip, and they do they do the juggling routine again, and when and sort of then they look and go again unison. Are drinks for them as well?
Sure.
They think about it for a minute, and they seem to be assessing what's going on, and they pull out shot glasses, and there's more. I mean, as Darvin's turning, and as Darvin and Clarity are turning towards the bar to sort of collect everybody, they see these 2 human twins just doing this whole, cocktail movie.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna go there.
The whole flare
I
bar.
was thinking it too.
thing.
I was thinking it too.
Yeah, and in the course of this juggling act, 6 shot glasses end up on the bar, and whatever it is, it comes in layers. A sort of red, a sort of an orange, and a sort of a yellow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Bellaray
That's
sunsets.
Nice. Most of the booze I'm familiar with never looked quite so pretty.
Oh, this is pretty basic from Jed.
Oh.
If
How many colors?
if you want something really fancy, then you go to the Bow and Dragon. We've got the basics, but they've got stuff.
I'm sure it'll be wonderful.
And then they go back to flicking the gold pieces until a customer, and then zip.
Rather envious of their sleight of hand, actually. Quite well done. Bravo.
Is
Now, given
anybody actually touching the drinks?
Take
Oh,
shot,
yeah.
go.
It's the smell that the smell that Darvin gets before actually swigging is there's sort of a citrus, and there's sort of a cherry, and there's something else. It's sweet cut with just a little bit of tart just to keep it from, and you can feel it warming all the way down. Not burning, but it goes down smooth but warm.
I'm
Oh.
watching what they do, and then
No, run me up. Just take a swig.
Well,
Oh,
it's not.
that's-
It's a shot, so it really is just boom.
Oh, that's. Oh, that's actually getting. That's getting a bit of the chill from that was still left over. That's wow. I feel.
That's nice.
Yeah, I feel way better.
That actually makes me think a little bit of Mount Palor. That was nice.
Oh, it's like, oh, that got rid of a chill I didn't know I had. Oh. Oh.
Yeah. For Remy, Bellaray sunsets are sort of a celebratory "we survived" thing.
So why those?
You came back alive. Is from
Oh.
2 separate corners of the bar. Besides,
Oh, I didn't know it was a thing. Awesome. Yeah, we survived. Woo!
It was huge, and it was soggy, and we lived.
It was ugly. Oy. Ooh.
Says,
And considering some of the things we've seen, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Which,
Honestly, the thing that fuck.
speaking of, that does remind me of something I wanted to ask y'all. Because when we were fighting it, we saw some of the I guess leftovers, for lack of a better way to put it. I know that we saw some of those were potentially from the village that we passed on the way up. We might want to.
and they sort of stop. They finish surveying their customers, skid back to you. Oh, you mean Shatterstone?
Oh, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I kind of wanted to, I don't know, send a message or go there just to let them know, hey, you don't have to worry about that anymore, since they were closer to it than we are. Well, we meaning Belarus.
And yeah,
So.
in twin ping pong, you get sort of. Well, you're friends with Torin, right? Well, then why don't you ask Torin? And you have
Right.
got a dragonborn with you, but usually people don't just drop by often, and
Yeah, see, I wasn't
Jazz
always.
turns to Jed, going, "Well, Torin might be a little bit embarrassed. You know what Shatterstone's supposed to look like." Well, yeah, but he's seen their hometown. That's a different thing. He's kind of like the bard. Yeah, humble beginnings. He talks about it all the time. Doesn't mean he wants to be able to see it. And then they look around.
I'm just back, forth, back, forth, back,
And
forth.
they stop.
I'm like tennis match. Just.
They stop, realize what they're doing, look at you. Just ask him.
You will. Yeah, I'll ask him.
Why
That's a
would
good-
Torin be ashamed of it?
Well,
Yeah.
it's on a cliff, so it gets a lot of the salt air and some of the kick up spray, and it's kind of podunk, and he's kind of a big deal, and
Clarity. It's kind of, my situation.
Oh, um,
they look at
there's a lot
Darvin
of us.
in unison. No, it's not.
I get the feeling it might be tinier than Goldendale from the way they're talking about it.
That would have meant, but okay.
But
There's a bunch of us who's a little bit podunk, so.
Yeah.
We're all mostly podunk.
Yeah, but you're kind of not internationally famous.
Mostly.
Good point.
Yeah.
But he might not be. I mean, it really all depends. And if Rosef were behind it, why don't we just ask him?
Yeah. Good plan.
If nothing else, Torin might be able to get a message to him. If not, if at least. So there we go. All right. Right. So how much time do we have until dinner?
By this point, you've got maybe 2.5 hours.
Okay. So if we got about a couple of hours to kill, we need to go to buy Arcane Ink to drop off the stuff that we were able to get, because I don't think we really want to be hanging on to that any longer than we need to.
Yeah. Get funky.
Yeah.
Yes, I unfortunately was not able to get the full list of things you can get written up, but I can give you a better verbal idea now if you don't have anything in mind.
That works.
Because yours is now gone.
Yeah, I used it. It didn't really come into play, but it was nice to know it was there, if nothing else. So I'm all for looking into getting a more permanent type of thing.
And given you just got handed like essentially 500 gold just on that one. That's what the 50 platinum is.
So
plus whatever the various fluids is gonna get you.
and as we're walking away from the bar, I'm kind of leaning in a little to Hazel, being like, "So you and the twins, nice."
And I'm going to mutter in Sylvan, I always heard weird things about twins, but I never met a set.
I understood that. I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. I don't think comprehend languages can translate. Can translate meep.
Sometimes it doesn't need translating.
That's fair. Hazel's just really confused at this point, apparently.
Walking ahead.
I've
Move over ahead and towards Clarity.
I've had to take a couple of half steps because I'm laughing.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, by the time I
Probably
get
for
over
the
to
best.
Clarity, I'm Scarlet.
What's with you? That's fair.
And then I point at Darvin.
Yep. Makes sense.
Oh Lord. Oh, I had to mute myself. That's what got me going so hard. Whew. Okay.
So, barring anything else, they make their way into Arcane Inc. It's the high elf who's manning the counter, although she does look up at Darvin and give a little
Hello.
So, I am to understand that your undertaking was successful.
Yes. Still relieved. Still relieved.
We have some things that we harvested as promised.
Ah, fantastic.
And I set vials on the counter.
It picks up the clear one that's the vitreous humor. Just
Yep. I have 2 vials of that, and there's 1 vial of the hag heart's blood.
who? What kind of hag? There's lots of kinds of hag.
We're calling it an ocean hag for lack of proper nomenclature. It's bigger
Big.
and
It was
more
big.
magical than a sea hag. So
It turned him into a bird, and I'm pointing at Nye.
Silent image. Image of the hag with the bird flitting away.
Gives you a smile. Oh, hello. And then picks up the vial of the heart's blood. Eyes flash with a little bit of purple arcane energy as she looks it over. Question for clarity: did you bring out the hair as well?
sure. Oh, I don't know if you can use hair. I'm not sure how that works with tattooing or...
some of it we can. And the needles do have to be hollow to a certain extent because that's how we get the ink in. But we do have another process which involves brushing ink on and then needle from there. It's one of the things that we have to do a bit more with more scaled races, just because it's a little bit difficult for straight needle. We kind of have to go both ways. So we could make some brushes out of this. Now, given the nature of this, I think most of it's probably going to have to be in trade. So have a think about what you're after, and we'll see if we can match what what this would have earned you in coin, just because we don't have quite that much coin to.
No, that was pretty well understood as what was going to be the case, for when we left. So yeah, no, that's totally fair. I know myself. I have some ideas. I don't know if any of y'all had
I
any.
had a thought, because remember the when we asked about talking in different languages, and your friend had the thing with his tongue. What about something that lets us talk to just each other? I don't know. Is that possible?
Not sure what you mean there, Hazel.
She means a message spell, and
Oh,
we can, but as per the original spell, it only works in a certain range. But it's the sort of thing that we do. We have done. I think. I think the sergeant over there may have seen one or two of the higher ranked companies do that. And in fact, Hazel might actually very faintly remember, just at the nape of Twillian Miranda's neck, there being a very small glyph, which he mostly saw when hug. Never really thought much about it, but it's a costly spell the more people you link to it, and it would probably expend most of what you've collected. Not all, but it would be it would definitely be the vitreous humor and the hair.
I know for myself, I was given the circumstances that I've found myself in the last few battles, although thanks to Froseth's timely techniques, it wasn't necessary. I was intrigued about the dimension door aspect.
Yes.
Being able to go in and get out if need be.
The permanent of that is significantly costly, and I mean, to be fair though, you've brought me the heart's blood of something incredibly arcane. I'm gonna have to do a couple of purification rituals on it, but having the permanent, and I still have to charge a little bit, but compared to our usual prices, basically it would be the heart's blood plus 50 gold.
Okay, yeah, I could actually. That's entirely reasonable, and yeah, I know. I kind of figured permanent would exponentially increase, and then something for dimension door, which my understanding is that's a fairly robust bit of.
But on the other hand, you are a bard. You're going to be able to do that spell anyway. Maybe not yet.
Right. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But we can definitely.
I'm still new to being what I am, so I'm not.
Oh,
really
I've met several bards in my my time, but for something like this, I'll just say part of it. If you're going to have something permanent, you probably want the aesthetic, and you also want something that you probably won't be able to do yourself.
Point.
And anyway, Darvin, didn't we see an item that does dimension door? I believe there was a cape somewhere in the city.
Sweetwater and Sisters, that's already sold.
Oh. But the fact that they exist is something to bear in mind. So yes, no, you are correct. You are correct, and yes, I think they're right. Yeah, better to get some. Yeah, that makes total sense. Why get something you can do when this is an opportunity to get something you normally can't do? Surprise factor. Gives people another layer to underestimate you on. That type of thing. Though the speaking in tongues is also interesting. Just don't know what. Oof, I don't know. Just
Although
ow.
you do have some very good memories of that.
Yeah, it's one thing to. It's one thing. I'm just like trying to say this a bit under my breath, but it's probably loud, and I'm not probably not realizing how loud I'm speaking. I'm like, it's one thing to be on the receiving end of it, but to actually have like myself, I don't.
And right in the side of the head. Doink.
Ow! What? Oh, wait. Did I set the
That
loud
was out loud.
I said the loud part quiet and the quiet part loud, didn't I? What? It was a good night. What? We are sticking around for at least a few more nights, right?
Yeah.
Just saying.
You do have the proprietress going. You do realize that the Welf is going to be quite happy that he's worth the kiss and tell thing.
That wasn't a kiss and tell. That was a kiss and brag.
Inadvertently, I didn't realize I was talking out loud. Ah, memories. Now that was out loud entirely. Just memories.
And you hear Wilfred in the back room. I am actually here, you know.
Oops.
You're welcome, and if you are around, look me up. You know where I am.
Smooches, darling, smooches.
It's clearly working with a customer in the back. So
Yeah, I'm leaving it at that. What? My apologies. The main difficulty I'm having right now is simply I have only been a bard for a brief period, so I'm not really sure what eventually down the line I will actually be able to do and not
Well,
do.
why don't you tell me the kinds of things that you'd like to be able to do? And I will see. But just so that I'm aware, are you all going for the message glyphs? Because that sounds like a group decision.
Yes. It's not a bad idea. It's a bit of a costly one. I don't know.
What do you guys think?
I mean, it's a great idea.
Seems like something that would be useful,
I mean,
especially if it's
useful, but still a cost.
well. Think of it as an investment, not so much a cost.
And if
Well,
we're
all of you would know better than I would how much the situation has come up.
yeah, where we've actually been separated, and yet still not by a great distance.
Or trying to communicate behind a target's back.
What kind of distance are we looking at?
I don't recall.
That's what I'm about to look up.
No, that I don't recall was in character.
I
Yes,
know
but-
there's a lot of times on a hunt where you would want to shout out to someone, except you can't because the thing you're hunting will hear you.
120 feet.
That's a pretty good distance.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, you still actually have to speak aloud.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but we still
There's
need
not.
to. Oh, I mean, we have to speak aloud, but it's not like we're trying to shout across 120 feet.
Well, you can still whisper. It'll be quite near to your actual ears, so that's not an issue.
So it still has merit there. It wouldn't have worked when we were separated and after the poor attempt at disguising. Or was that stealth more so? I think that was stealth more so. When I think it was
What the whole thing where we got arrested?
Yeah. Well, you did.
Me?
Well, to be fair, Hazel, I think was it you that stepped on Or was your cloak the one that got stepped on? I think it was
I
your
got
cloak that
stepped
was.
on.
Yeah, you were the one that got stepped on.
Oh,
That's
Nora.
yeah. I'm not sure. Right. Anyway. Um. Anyway, as far as what I would like to do, I have been doing things from a distance here and there, but when those haven't worked, I've had to just go in and use rapier. Problem being that puts I'm not exactly, good at taking a hit.
You're
If it hit.
you're a leather armor kind of an individual.
So I need to either, and my idea was the best way to take a hit is to not be there when it lands.
There is another option.
How so?
Well,
I'm open because, like I said,
there are various bits of magical shielding. You've seen one,
yeah, the
but
blade ward, nice. It
but
didn't actually come into play this time, but just having it and knowing it was going in there was a big
but
help.
there's also the option of having something that bolsters your health a little bit, and if they hit you, it hurts them.
Oh,
Ooh.
so sort of
The spell name is Armor of Agathis.
Agathis, 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 Agathis.
Make me an
There's no-
Arcana check if you're looking at
Yeah,
trying to
I'm
figure out.
thinking. I'm thinking if I actually have heard the name at all in anything. I'm curious. Nope.
Nope.
6. Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell. Clarity. Does that ring a bell?
I don't know. Let me think. Natural 20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ancient wizard. Pretty good on the protective stuff.
Oh, Agathis was an abjuration sort of wizard, and I believe it's a cold type of armor, and it hurts the people who hurt you.
Right. Oh, right. Because if you punch, heck, if you punch an ice cube, it's going to sting. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay. Yeah.
Well, even with weapons, it
Oh.
sort of blasts back.
Oh, neat.
And
Okay.
the elf is just going. You're for an individual who's not from around here. You've got quite the wealth of knowledge. It's a shame you don't actually live here. I'm sure the library would love to have you.
Oh, I've been wanting to visit there. Is it far from here?
It's out in the study lock. The thing is that while you're allowed to go in, from wherever, you can't take anything out, and that includes some of the more interesting things off the restricted shelves without a library card. And if you don't live here, you can't
Probably can't
get
get
one.
one. Right.
Oh,
But
all right.
clarity, you're more than welcome to. If we have time, yeah. No, I insist. You visit as you can.
Yeah,
Or-
I don't. I mean, in a big city like this, I haven't seen it yet, but I assume it's gigantic.
It's one of those buildings that's bigger on the inside.
Given some of the things we've seen, I'm not going to question that.
Well, some of the more restricted sections are liminal space pockets that some of the older conjurers have come up with. In any case,
Fascinating.
alternatively, if you're feeling a little bit more you know, deep in the pockets. It's about the same price as your permanent dimension door would be.
Mhm.
Um, we've got one that it's not exactly protective or shielding exactly, but it's something that we picked up from the Palor Shrine, actually. The basically you radiate life-preserving energy. It's actually called Aura of Life. Um, Everyone around you for about 30 feet, you included, um, necrotic damage doesn't hurt as much as it
Hmm.
should, and there are some creatures out there that actually make you almost temporarily or permanently weaker, and this doesn't let that happen.
Ooh. And given some of the things we've already faced, guys, what do you think? That actually sounds.
Also if somebody gets knocked unconscious, it'll stabilize them and get them conscious again. Not it won't really heal them much, but
Right.
it'll bring them up.
That is handy.
Yeah.
I
Basically,
like
what it
that.
is life-preserving energy radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you.
Hmm.
It's she'd say it lasts for 10 minutes, which is
Hmm.
best part of a fight, really.
Hmm.
Each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, has resistance to necrotic damage, and its hit point maximum can't be reduced. In addition, a non-hostile living creature regains 1 hit point when it starts its turn in the aura with 0 hit points.
What do you think, guys? I am all. Given some of the things we've already had to deal with, I'm kind of all for this one.
That one does sound very
That sounds
useful.
like a good idea.
That
I've
one
had
that one
I've had
does sorry. That
Sorry,
one does
Clarity.
need to be on one that is going to be in the center of the fray, because otherwise it's
Which
not as
generally is pretty much where I end up. Um, Close enough to far enough away to be able to not be readily hit by things, close enough that my magic will work, and also close enough that if I need to run in and stab, I can.
well, and it
So,
moves with you, so you'd be
Mhm.
able to move towards anyone. And I was sort of acting as field medic for the past couple of fights, so it seems like a thing that would be useful to keep
Oh,
people
right.
from
Yes, because you ran in and yeah, good.
twice.
Yeah, yeah. That was a thing. Yeah, that the ocean hag. Some of the abilities that thing had were rather brutal. Uh, I don't know if I don't know if knowing any of those might help you with with your work, but I mean, we're
no,
happy to tell you.
I've had I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to hearing it more in tavern ballads. I've seen enough
Fair enough.
holds up the blood. I've seen more than you could tell me.
Fair. I figured, but at the same time, it's worth it to ask. Y'all have been really great, and so yeah. I mean, yeah, I will. I will be mentioning this place in our travels outside of Belarus, to be sure.
That would be lovely. I'm fairly sure that a couple of the people that you associate with have heard of us.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think Mom and Mama did.
Oh.
Actually, most of our abjuration work, the older stuff anyway, we did have a little bit of help in the design stages.
Ah! Man, the world's getting.
Wow.
She was one of my tutors.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'll have to tell them how well you all are doing. Oh, they're going to be thrilled.
So, had you decided on the message, Nicholas? Because that informs what the pricings are going to be.
I'm a bit on the fence. I think we should hold off on that and take another look around. Um, because the message, while good, we might find something bit more useful.
Well, what sorts of things are you looking at beyond you? You're looking at
Right.
Darwin.
Right. Remy, Clarity, Nye, Hazel, Froseth. You already got
This'll last me a while. I think I'd rather not go
through
doing
that
that
again.
again. It was interesting.
Yeah. I wasn't. Yeah. I was like, Froseth, you're good.
Yeah, I'm interested in
You are
in
so
what
good.
Darwin was talking about earlier, the dimension door thing, because anything that makes me go faster or get places
I like
usually
that
don't.
the one that will help people if they go down,
Yes, but
or something that resists magical stuff that messes with your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's also been a problem.
Yeah. Something to prevent fear was the one that got us last time.
I don't know if there's anything that prevents, but
Probably, yeah. No, we had that. We had a conversation about that at one point. Remy, you weren't actually there, or were you at the time? I'm sorry. We've
What
been
was it?
after everything we've been through. I'm losing my timeline a little bit. The Pixies. No, you weren't there for that. That was confusion. So confusion has also been another thing that we've run afoul of on a couple of occasions. So something to prevent that would also be good. Basically, anything that would mentally take Remy out of a fight, we'd like to prevent.
well, let's see what I can come up with. But paladins do eventually get that kind of thing more or less naturally. It just takes a little while.
Well, and Nye, Clarity, Hazel, do you have any ideas?
I
Is that the
don't
good
know
for
what
now.
message thing or the dimension door?
Well, Hazel, with you, I mean, like you said, you just want to be able to get to the people that need the help quicker. So, dimension door is one option.
I want to do the movements.
Permanent. I mean, you've already got boots that help with that. Clarity, I'm not sure what you might want.
I'm good for now.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah.
mechanics-wise, these basically function the same as learning a new spell, right?
Yeah, but it does also depend. The difference is that, and if it's a concentration spell, it does count as you having your concentration. So that in that way, yes, but no, in that you are not restricted by your class.
Or a slot.
Okay.
It doesn't require a slot, and you're not restricted by class.
Okay,
it's
that's
like
good.
it's like a scroll almost.
Yeah, I was just
There
that way.
is one thing that might help. A little less for some than others, depending on if you've got the presence of mind to use it. But there is, instead of having all of you have the message glyph, you could have counter charm.
Ooh.
I actually, to be
That
fair,
I've
that
heard of.
one's a fairly powerful one. So for what message would be, I could get 2 of you.
Hmm. And if I recall correctly, that is something that bards can do.
Yes, it is. Counter charm is a bardic thing.
Mm-hmm. That I knew from some stories. I do know a tiny bit. Just, but that might be useful for you, Remy.
That is a good point.
If you only wanted to do the one, we could find something else a little more minimal for somebody else.
Clarity, you said you didn't need anything. Hazel, as I said, you seem to only be concerned with getting to the people that need help faster, which I get that. totally get that. And
And they're looking at the boots and going,
Yeah.
I think you're all right enough
Yeah.
yeah,
for now
Like I
anyway.
said, I only have
Right.
two. I only have two worries: getting there and surviving getting there.
well, with the idea is we keep we keep Remy in the fight, and then you won't have to worry about surviving. But Nye.
So
Let
far, I
me-
feel like I haven't been very effective.
Well, with you just had some bad luck. Look, you didn't get turned to stone, so you got turned into a bird. Big deal. At least you didn't get turned into a bunny. Yeah, no, believe me that you're gonna. Sometimes it's just gonna be like that.
I actually think I can do that armor thing. I haven't explored a lot of the power I got given, but I think I can actually do that armor thing.
Oh,
Although I feel like if I'm right up next to the thing we're fighting, something's gone wrong already.
yeah, probably, but in a pinch.
Yeah.
So you think you might be okay? We all might want to just sit down and talk tactics at some point.
Save it for later. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that while we're here, everybody gets their chance to.
Well, we can always put aside as a voucher and see what to do before you leave.
Fair. Okay, so what are we thinking? We're thinking I'll go ahead and get the aura, and Remy, you'll get the counter charm. Hopefully that will give you a bit more chance, as it were.
Yeah, that sounds
Lack of a
good.
better way to put it. Just yeah.
That'll work.
As you're discussing that, the curtain swings back and out comes Andrew. Hi all. What?
Hey.
Hey!
I'm celebrating. I finally. I've been working predominantly as a sort of assistant to one of the local sort of herb sellers, but I've been looking for something a little bit more challenging. But I now have a 2-year sort of a secondment situation where I get to keep a fairly prominent alchemist's plants and his library, and I get to tend everything, and I actually have means to get an assistant. I don't know where I'd start looking for an
Wow.
assistant. I'm gonna have to put up a pin in the on the bulletin board at the university or something, but I don't always trust the university students. Sometimes they get very raucous. I'll find something. But yes, I decided to give myself a little bit of an extra treat. It's a silly little glamour thing, but look what I can do. And she shows there's this little. It's almost an embroidery looking pattern on the palm of her hand. And she waves it, and there's a silent image of Twilly and Miranda.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful.
And I've gone hypersonic.
Oh boy, my ears just popped.
I can hold it. I can hold it for 5 minutes, and I can change it. Watch, and it changes to Hazel.
I'm just hand on Hazel's shoulder, just.
And I'm still hypersonic.
Yeah, but it's just.
Yeah, I've moved it and gone.
And just. So you can tell Mom and Mama that I haven't, very much have not forgotten them. I'll be able to actually send more and help now.
Oh god,
Yeah.
the hypersonic really kicked into high gear now.
Not done yet. Not moving my hand.
At least for the next 2 years, he's going off to Demille to study there a little bit. So I have about a week in the old cramped flat while he's packing his stuff up. It'll give me time to find myself an assistant. And yeah. So, sorry. It sounds like I've been eavesdropping. I'm sorry, but you all fascinate me. Um,
Thank you. You are quite wonderful.
well, that's
And congratulations, sincerely.
thank you. It's
Congrats.
nice to hear from one of
Hypersonic is
my
finally
brothers.
winding
Ruff,
down.
ruff, 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 ruff. And then
I'm like
combs
moving
it back
moving like a
into.
couple of fingers, going, "Are you done?"
Well, while you're doing that, you get Andre sticking hands in hair, ruffle, 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 and then grooms it into actually kind of a nice sort of style.
Oh wow.
She definitely takes after Twilly.
All right, I'll
I,
find.
I grabbed Darwin's hand, pull him aside, and latch onto Andrew.
Pat, pat, pat.
Full on, like, lifting up hug.
Hazel, shoes.
Hazel. Hazel.
Well,
Remember that? Remember when you could barely hang on?
the elven woman behind the counter is going. Well, that does mean that we have two tattooists, and one is a little bit smaller than the other one. So that means that the sergeant can have our sprightly friend Delan working on you. It's right about there yours so that you can tap onto it while you're still wearing full plate.
That would be useful.
Yours is a little bit more ornate. It's you know what some of the shrines are like. It's more of a the light of Palor's flames around the wrist and up the back of the hand. It's that's something that we came up with predominantly in K. There's a lot of ways you can do that one, but we find that one works for bards
Right.
because the back of the hand is a little easier to reach,
yeah.
and if you start focusing, you can actually channel it into, when you're playing a song rather than just tapping it. It's down to what you connect as a. There needs to be
Right.
some movement of the ink to make it work,
Right.
but that one we found if we do the wrist and up the back of the hand and a bit into the.
As you're, and
then-
as you're, yeah, and as you're, yeah, I gotcha.
I harp, you see, so.
Yeah, viol usually. So sometimes drum, sometimes flute.
Wilfred's going to be terribly disappointed. I'm sure he would have absolutely loved to get you with your shirt off again.
And I don't say anything at the again. But in my,
Well,
my
no,
I'm
because
thinking,
you would have had to the first time because
Oh,
your
right,
shirt
for
might
the-
have gotten in the way.
Point.
And she's going, mind gutter evict. I know it's comfortable in there, and he set up cushions, but
I love what he's done with the place.
I'm far too old for that kind of nonsense. In any case, we'll see you lot in.
Okay.
The sergeant is going to take about 20 minutes. The very busy bard will be probably closer to 40 because those are it's a bit more of an intricate pattern. So yeah, and the rest of you is like, if you'd like to have a look through our basic catalog, any of you, and see if there's anything in the approximate price range you might like. Otherwise, I'll just write you a chit that you can spend as you like after you've had a bit more thought. We'll see if we can dig up a catalog for you to take home with you, but or back to your rooms anyway.
And definitely, like I said, we'll be telling people about you.
It's always appreciated. Those of you
Most surely.
Those of you that are waiting, though, maybe can we offer you some refreshment? Those two can't have any. They're going to be having alternate bits and pieces. I have some things looks at night I think you'll like.
Oh,
Uh, it opens a little cabinet in the back. You can see there's one very small cabinet and two regular sized cabinets, and they've got the names of the proprietors on them. She opens up hers, and she pulls out a small green bottle. The kind of rough glass. It looks hand blown. Um, an old cork in it. Pops it open, and smell is one of the biggest memory kickers ever. This, he's not entirely sure why he's familiar with it, but it's definitely a childhood familiarity.
I know that smell. What's that smell?
Well, this is, I'm not entirely sure where it came from, but it's very definitely, it's a wood elf specialty. They sell things like it out in the elven wild, but I don't think it originated from there. Uh, Mostly because it's not really wood elves up there, mostly. There are some, but they tend to get the short end of the stick, rather unfortunately. But I just, I know the look, and I thought that you might appreciate some of it.
I take it and take a much bigger sniff and just try to think.
I hate to do this to you, but make me a wisdom check.
As I find the button. 3!
Wow.
The bot it doesn't have anything to do with. The only thing you can think is you haven't tasted it, but you always wanted to. That's all you get.
I look around for some sort of a glass or something.
She gently takes the bottle back. Clearly, this stuff is costly as fuck, and brings out four small but dainty sorts of glasses. Then adds a fifth, presumably for her. So she pours one for Hazel, Clarity, Nye, Froseth, and herself, and slides it over. Very carefully, because she has no idea what your story is, but sort of, yes, you can have some.
Do I recognize this at all?
You, given your upbringing, no.
Okay, yep. No recollection whatsoever.
No, this isn't something you would have come anywhere near.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's a wine. You're not really sure the fruit that it comes from, but again, there's that familiarity of smell, and maybe it was something that the family had at banquets that you weren't quite old enough to have a glass of. And then she writes something down on a bit of parchment and slides it towards Nye. That's where I bought the bottle if you want more.
There's a glass for pretty much...
Yeah. Everybody but the two that are off getting inked.
I'm trying it.
Yeah, again, it's not a fruit you recognize. There's a there's a tart to it that maybe tastes a little bit like desserts you had at home, but not when you were really tiny, but not really.
Huh. Weird.
The elf is just going back with her bottle of wine and just, I'm gonna leave you guys to it.
Wait.
All she wanted to do was offer somebody a taste of home, and she's walked in on drama.
That you said there was a catalog thing.
Plot.
Yeah, she shoves a large book full of parchment sketches of. Some are actually quite old. Of glyphs and designs and what they do, and yes, some of them are in Twilly's handwriting, at least in part. And on that note, I will leave you guys to. We'll take our 5-minute break. Have a thumb through your various spell lists and see if we can arrange something. And when we come back, it will be a little bit more time to kill before dinner at the Crestwinds. And we're back. Remy and Darvin have just finished having their tattoos, and Nye has had his not quite memory ting. But yeah, when they come out, Remy's got this. Actually, Darvin will probably find the pattern interesting because it's a bardic spell predominantly.
See? No problem.
There is a certain amount of. It's not a musically
I'm in the
themed
middle of
pattern, but there's a certain lyrical element to it somehow. Whereas Hazel recognizes a lot of the pattern because it's all around the wrist and then up the back of the hand. And Hazel recognizes some of those symbols from some of the carvings on the Palor shrines, both at Mount Palor and at the the multi-deity shrine in Goldendale.
Huh. cool.
And that's going to be there forever. So, did any of you think about anything else you might conceivably want? Looks at Clarity. 'Cause by this point, Andrew's gone off to continue with her preparations. Although she did druid craft some bluebells, and despite the hiding behind the book, the horns are still, and she just winds them in because they match your hair. And
Thank you.
just, I'd hug you if I thought you wouldn't combust. You're adorable. I hope.
Isn't she best, Rogue? And I just popped up next to the moat.
I just hope that maybe one day you won't actually hide behind a book, because I'd actually kind of like to talk to you. But right now I have things to do, and I guess so do you. So, at least I know where you're staying. And adjusts the bluebells just so, and then bye.
Bye.
After I start to lean over to Clarity just a little bit, but then I remember Hazel's reaction, and I think better of it and go, nah.
I just took 1 point of daw damage.
Leaning very, very close. All right, Dora.
And you just got the high elf proprietress going. It's like my own little stage play. It's great.
And Clarity's I'm starting to be like I'm like, not gonna help you.
Is it with Clarity and arts in general?
I don't know what you're talking about. She just goes back to writing.
I have a guess.
Clarity is amazing.
So, did you all have anything that you particularly wanted? It looks at Clarity with a sort of a kind smirk. Besides you, I think I have an idea.
Oh look, I think
you are trying to make her combust, aren't you?
Well,
Popping the rogue.
It can.
Hellish rebuke on all of you.
That only works if we're
Shot to the heart.
actually hurting you. Dude.
Shot to the heart.
Leave
And
us
who's
in.
to blame?
She grabs Naya's braid, yank. There was a bard. No, forward. So pulling you close to her. Yoink. We have a bard who's played that every night for 3 months. Repeatedly, I think it's the only song he knows. On a lute missing 2 strings. Do not quote that ever.
Not much of a bard, then, is he?
Yeah, that's wow.
He needs a songbook that's more than a song page.
He needs more strings for his lute, but funnily enough, he's not earning enough to buy any. Let's go with the braid.
I suggest his next performance you pass the hat.
No,
We
or
don't-
feed it to.
We don't pay out of pity, dear.
No,
Yeah.
to get another bard.
You don't know how the bard. Never mind.
You don't know how that works.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind.
So, did you have any ideas, or shall I just hand you a coupon, as it were?
I'm probably gonna have to go with the latter.
No. Okay, we'll give it some thought. Come back.
She pulls out a nice, heavy bit of parchment, and just... I'll make a note of what it is that you've still got behind the counter. Do redeem this. And with your shiny new tattoos, you're good to go for wherever
Yep.
you wanted to
So-
see or do next? You've got about just under 2 hours now.
Okay. Well, Hazel, you said you had some other places you wanted to see. I don't particularly have anywhere interest that I'm needing to go to right at the moment. Nye,
Steel
Remy.
Singer's Return.
She
Okay,
says
then.
she says this when you're because let's see, Steel Singer's Return is up there. Yeah, I guess you're not too far out from it. It's not entirely on the way to Remy's place, but you could take the
Roundabout.
long way around.
So I tell you, we're going the scenic route. Okay.
Well, to be
did anybody
fair,
else have?
you doing that, you could take a winding tour around and poke in on the doll's house and and see what Allie has been doing over at Sweetwater and Sisters if you took the way around the market.
Let's see.
Hello, puppy.
Something here, ravening madness.
So I guess we can go to Steel Singers. We can probably hit a few other stops on the way.
Uh-huh.
As long as you
Thinking-
don't spend too long in any one place.
Exactly. If we make quick stops, we might be able to see a few other places as we go. But because remember, we've only got a couple of hours. So
Yep.
Do we want to stop anywhere on the way to Steel Singers, or are we just going to go straight there? I've pulled out, I think we had an actual map. So
I imagine that Maury probably would have provided you with one.
Mhm.
Because your map was more the country.
Oh yeah. The big dead one, the big one. I thought we had a smaller, just sort of like, you were here, type of thing.
I think Maury probably took pity on you and produced one.
Because let's see there. So never mind. I'm looking at the map trying to see what's between the pretty well straight shot. I'm like, let's see, what's that? Oh, the Rosen. Oh, never mind. Nip. We're not going to be out of there in 2 hours. And back to the boast. Not really needed. So yeah, I guess we could just go pretty well straight there.
It's a little bit of a hike, but you manage it in reasonable time. It is a rather glorious smithy and weapons shop. Yeah, a good size, good location. Most of the weapons are pretty standard. That are in the window, but you can imagine that anything really special would be behind the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And in I go.
Inside,
Oh boy.
inside there's it seems to be sort of family run, as it were. So there's like 8 or 9 half elves of varying ages running around the place. Currently, they're dealing with a crowd of really disgruntled mercs who are selling more than buying. Remy will recognize a couple of them. They were in Carter's Combine before Carter went. And they give her
dear.
kind of a "we're not sure what to make of you" kind of look.
Army gives it a up nod.
Wow.
Wow, cold.
Well, they're not gonna be friendly. She'll be chill too. She did kind of kill Carter, so things got awkward there.
Yeah,
A little, I
cur-
suppose.
currently they appear to be selling spoils of war with the haggling fervor that indicates that they are not entirely sure where the next bit of coin is coming from until they join a new company. Yeah, they finish their various bits of business. Clearly not 100% satisfied with the deal, but it seems to be the best they're going to get. And still side-eyeing Remy, they leave. Of course,
That could.
you guys don't know that. You just know that Remy kind of got the stink eye from people who are clearly trying to scrape together as much gold as possible with a view to. I mean, Darvin knows the "Am I going to eat next week?" look.
Mm-hmm.
Who were
Oh
those, and do
dear.
we need to worry about them?
Just old comrades that probably don't need to worry about. I think they have bigger problems to deal with.
I'm just
Or
looking around.
Yeah, there's a couple of presentation cases behind.
Cases.
Yeah, they're the weapons that are there. There's only about 5 of them. There is a wicked looking two-handed sword, and
Damn.
Darvin's seen bigger, but it was less pointy. This one's
Yeah.
this one's Dark Knight pointy spiked.
Oh god, it's one of those things.
Wow.
There is an equally large two-handed axe. And this one you can almost feel the electricity even through the case.
Ooh. I'm like, yeah. Ouch.
There's a set of absolutely gorgeous daggers. They're a little strange because the blades are a sort of a odd silver purple, and sometimes they seem to not 100% be there. It's like you look at them and it's like they're fading out, but they're not. It kind of hurts to look at them after a while.
Oh
Ugh,
boy.
all this is hurting me to look at. It's like magic is burning my eyes out.
Reminds me of the that I'm like tugging at the displacer cloak and probably activating it a little, so I'm displacing. So now I'm in like 3 places at once.
There is one suit of armor that actually the one Remy's got on is better to look at, but there is definitely a feeling of ultimate solidity about this. It's very dark iron. There's a sort of a reddish tinge to it, but and again, magic enough to be weird for an eye.
And I'm just staring at this armor.
And finally, there is just a one-handed sword and shield that seem to be a set, and they somehow they just look lethal. There's no real explanation as to why, but they do. They're very dark, both of them. Not black like Black Spain that Remy's got, but dark. The rest is well-made steel, but nothing special. It's just those 5 items. And this half-elf can't be more than 15. Comes dashing up to Hazel, looking at the hammer. Where did you get that?
Uh, uh,
And that sword, and that, and those, and where did you get those?
I'm just starting to inflate. Verity! Darvin! Help!
And I'm sorry, at this point, it's like, if there's asking for help, it's like, why don't you want to tell me? What don't you want to tell me? What's going on? Do you want to make a deception check? Hazel?
I know, I'm not. I'm just flailing in a panic.
Oh! I'm sorry, but this individual just rolled an 18 on an insight check.
Yeah, there's no deception here. I'm just like, what do I say?
Well, never mind then.
Too late.
Yep.
Well, it's a 15-year-old boy, and currently he's just staring. Are you going to do anything about this, or?
I'm still freaking out. There's just an internal litany of Paler, oh gods, what's happening?
Let's see. How do I want
You
I'm
have
trying to.
5.
No.
Mom!
I'm good.
Dad! Look!
Oh,
The
boy.
staff of this place converge.
Mm-hmm.
And the fairly burly half-elf man actually grabs Hazel, tries to grab Hazel because displace her cloak. flails, and then just looks at the rest of you, then it grabs for
Mhm.
Nye. Yoink. Where is she?
Who?
Crap, so
What?
one person who has no clue.
Oh, boy.
You're no help. Drops him.
Routinely.
Where is she?
We. Ah, boy.
I gave
know
you every
she's
chance,
safe.
guys.
We know, and she's safe, but we don't know if she wants anyone else to know.
Piss on that! We've been running her shop for her for years! Okay, fine, admittedly she didn't ask us to, but that's the point!
Yeah.
She's the first steel singer to come along in 100 years!
Okay.
And we have only have 5 bits to... And now you're telling us you know where she is, but you're not going to say because...
But we will let her know that y'all want to know, and that y'all are still running the store. She might not. She might not know. I don't know. We didn't ask because we didn't know.
And yet you're all carrying around some of this is better than the stuff we've got. She's still improving! Huh?
The craftsperson, of course she is.
You know she's more than that.
Yes, but even so, even at the most basic level, anyone that makes something is always making things. I'm always writing.
I'm looking back and forth between the stuff on the walls, this, just basically at the whole situation, and it's, you can almost see the light bulb, the lantern go on over my head.
Actually, there are light bulbs here. They do have little bottled suns. But the half elf is sort of looking at you, going, "Well, you're still writing, but you're also 3 years out of diapers, so."
Fair point. I've dealt with enough elves. I'm not going to take offense to that statement.
Half my lifespan's not that much greater than yours, but you're still young.
Point. But no, like I said, she's safe. and she's happy so far as we can tell, and that's why we're loath to poke it.
It's not our secret to tell.
Yeah.
Seemed to have
Thank
a
you.
good idea of what she was doing.
Thank you, Clarity.
Yeah, just like the identity of Rand Hearthheart wasn't your secret to tell. Apparently now the whole city knows.
Just slowly trying to disappear.
To be fair, she's family, so
If Rand is family, so is Jen and Del.
I mean, that's Rand's family there.
Looks at Remy. I know your company probably wasn't the best example, but you do know what merc companies are like, right?
Yes.
Well then, you see the point I'm trying to make, which she's deliberately missing because she looks really smart.
What can I say?
The sort of thin, pinched, sort of got more of the elven blood to her, but not quite the same grandeur as some. Going, I know what you're probably going to say, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is there any chance any of you would part with any of those?
No.
No.
Sorry, can't.
We're kind of on a quest.
And we're
So,
kind of attached to them.
You can see her actually ticking over how much she could afford to offer, and her husband just sort of, you know what some people are like about their weapons, Estelle. All we have is that, and some of it scares people.
I can promise you we'll pass word, but that's
And the man just sort of goes, take the kids and see the customers, I'll talk to them. I was like, look, honestly, we're making a good enough living. I, generally speaking, wouldn't care. But, yeah, there's Estelle, and we've got 8 kids, and she gets a little panicky, so if she's a bit sharp about things, that would be why.
Mm-hmm.
She is one of those all the money in the world people isn't enough kinds of people, and but even if she just wanted to ship a presentation piece our way, we'd make it worth her while. If she doesn't want to come back, it seems a compromise.
Which, yeah, I mean, and like I said, like I said, we passed the word along to her that the store is still going and there's a need.
Less a need Mora would really like. And as I say,
Fair enough. I'll put it that way. But beyond that, like I said, it's not our call to make.
and in all fairness, the part of the reason that I'd put it that way is because she was always one for the need rather than the finances.
She, I mean, like, we've met her.
Got that impression.
Dealt with her.
Well,
Know
obviously.
who she is, but we don't really know her, us personally, all that well. So that's the other reason why we're kind of loath to. This is delving more into personal territory than.
Also, you're scared shitless of her.
Yeah.
Not a bit.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah. Just a
very,
little.
very.
Uh huh.
Yeah, but Papa told me stories. It's
Yeah. So.
anyway.
Yeah.
Look,
Put on a hanger.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, you wouldn't stop moving.
And trying to shrink
Down.
again.
She took you back down eventually.
Just looking at Hazel, it's like, please don't be a bad example to my children. We've got Allie from down the road away is enough for that.
Yeah, that
That
and the tea trays.
Oh,
Don't mention the tea trays.
please don't mention the tea trays.
wait, did any of those escape?
The first prototypes apparently had wings.
So, oh God. So there really was a tea tray in the sky. Oh.
We had to replace a window, and then it decided to make friends with one of our daggers and was scuttling around with a dagger attached, poking people in the ankles.
You did. Really? Like, really? We're going. Oh, that's going. Okay, that's a thing. All right, we're doing that. All right. Did they name it Stabby?
I am looking
The
slightly
kids,
horrified.
the kids named it Stabby.
I thought so.
Only slightly horrified?
It gets a
Hey,
little.
I just stood on one.
It gets a little more horrifying when it decided to attack one of our prime suits of armor and exploded.
I don't know why I'm apologizing, but that's still not a good thing, and that's
Just commiserate with me for the fact that the kids are still pestering Allie for Stabby Mark II.
you have my oh yes, strongly commiserating.
And
So is she gonna make it Stabby Part 2, or...?
I'm kind of bribing Edvar to keep her distracted from that.
Probably was.
Alright.
I can. She's
She might build herself a Stabby.
she's a little. She's more me than me.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask.
Yeah.
Are you related?
I don't think so.
There is a very confused Hazel.
Not actually. I mean, we're all part of the family, but I mean, there's
Well,
related and then there's related.
I was just wondering what side of the family it comes from. And how we can remove that side of it from the gene pool. We've got enough of yous already.
More tea trays might help.
They never
Any-
seem to hurt her, is the thing. Anyway, did you have anything particularly in mind? I can't imagine that any of you would need better weapons and armor than you could get wherever she is.
I'm mostly just looking for armor in general.
It peers at
Hey.
you.
I'm looking at Hazel going, with a look going, huh?
Come with me. And leads you to a part of the counter that's apparently for armor measurements. And there's a old, slightly yellowing sign. A life domain cleric in heavy armor is a useless tin can. No!
Oh well.
I didn't actually think of it until we walked in, but I need a what do you call it? In Sylvan, I say, what's that word for a holder for your sword?
Scabbard. He needs a scabbard.
Not the word I was thinking of, but thank you. I need one of those for help me. This. And I pull out my sword, being very careful not to point it at anyone.
The stabby rave is giggling at people now. Oh, you're one of those!
So you just summoned something.
Form giggling sword.
You fall.
Doltron.
I don't does that even need a scabbard? You could just make that happen.
She's right, you
Good
know.
point.
Well, I figure I might not want to waste time if I need it in more of a hurry.
How is that not?
You just made it like boom.
It doesn't even
Huh?
take that much time to draw a sword. It takes less time to apparate a sword than it does to draw one.
I'm
Okay, point taken.
Also, that's leather. Also, that's leather work anyway.
Anyway,
The other thing I could possibly
Anyway.
ask about is a spear.
Well, we don't have any steel singer spears, and you'd probably want one from her if you could get it.
Well, it was it. This place is awesome. You are all awesome.
And I noticed you were looking at the pieces. Do you want to know what they do?
That
I mean, I'm curious. Sure.
Some are fairly obvious. Points at the big honking Death Knight sword. That's life stealing.
Wow.
That hurts your enemies and heals you. Little dodgy for most of you, but
and that axe, the one that tingles when you get near it.
tell me that's not obvious.
That's obvious.
Lightning. Yeah.
The daggers are psychic damage.
Wait, they hit people in the mind?
As well as the body, yeah.
Huh.
Yes, I
That's
went.
the thing.
Yes, I went to a Psylocke play. Shut up.
That makes me wonder.
What?
Clarity.
Yes.
What do you think of those daggers?
I mean, they're nice. But I mean, my daggers are nice too.
Right.
Besides, you'd probably want to get them from the source because it shows the price tag on that. It's 4 figures and that's platinum.
Oh,
Never mind.
see, that's what I mean. I'm good.
Never mind. Never mind. I didn't notice the tag at first.
Your weapon, it's going to be
Worth the cost.
The armor is, I mean, I'd say it's pretty average, but it's not. It just has a drawback to go along with the benefits. I think it's an early iteration. You take less bludgeoning damage, from maces and hammers and things, and you can't be knocked down, but it really slows your movement. And it is literally impossible to be stealthy in it.
auto fail stealth rolls.
Though you probably still wouldn't wind up falling face first in a box full of pots and pans, but that's another story.
Hey!
You are the
But
box
if
full
you
of
did,
pots
it would
and
be-
pans at that point.
Good
But
point.
if you did, it'd be really hard to get back up again.
And besides, Hazel, you
I
weren't the one that did
will
that. That was me.
smite you.
That was me.
Yeah, but pots, pans, crockery.
I said pots and pans specifically. You were the one with the crockery. I was the one with the pots and pans. Let's get our kitchenware straight.
The sword and shield set are I think they were originally supposed to be being made for a very wealthy and very angry paladin. Basically, you know that smiting thing that y'all can do with radiant and thunder and all the rest of it. That does necrotic.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Ooh.
That's almost
Necrotic.
worse than the life stealer.
Yeah. Ugh.
That
I
That.
I some
I am more afraid of her now than I was before.
I think just between you, me, and the four walls that it was those two pieces that maybe made her go, and I'm not sure I want to be in places where they feel they need things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the worst part is, I mean, okay, the life stealing, it's one thing. It makes sense in a and Froseth from back going in a karmic sort of way. You'd know all about that, yeah. Okay then. But that I think the necrotic set was the final straw shade, and
Mm.
it doesn't really do anything as much as well, anything really to some of the things in the southern lands. So
Right. Well, we've seen the place. We'll pass word, and shall we?
Yes, we shall.
nice to have met you,
Nice to have met you as well, and we will pass word.
Yep.
Tommen, by the way.
Tommen. Okay.
Hey, if Lindira can steal names from Game of Thrones, so can I.
Mwah.
Well, that's a whole different mental image of the person now.
Oh, Tommen at least was a decent one.
Well, yes, but
True.
just in terms of physicality.
Anyway. Right. So that was that. We step outside. We could go down. We could go to the doll's house. We
Or
could
at least peek into the
Yeah.
window, because you're probably not going to want to bring
No,
things.
We
but-
can. Yeah, exactly. We can. Window shop real quickly at the doll's house and poke our head in a little, possibly at Sweetwater, but or Sugar and Spice, but it's probably getting around the time we need to be heading on to Crestwinds.
Sounds
While
like
we're
a plan.
walking, as soon as we're a decent distance away from the store, I go, so what just happened in there?
You want to adjust your mic a little bit, because we're having a hard time hearing you.
A little tinny, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's probably better.
That's better.
So, yes, back to the men's question.
Yeah. So Jenna is moved to our hometown.
And here she's a really big deal.
Yeah, but we don't know the circumstances of why she left, or why she didn't return here after everything was said and done. And so we're loath to want to let people know where she's at because she may just not want to be made a fuss over.
So basically, they recognized her handiwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because, well, very carefully holding the hammer up in front of me. This thing, she made the original and then rebuilt this within a day for me. A little sad I haven't gotten all that much use out of it, given I can't really... I mean, the hag was all the crossbow, putting this away.
And for a second, maybe you could ask her to make you a crossbow.
That's a good. I didn't even think of that.
I mean, a lot
Part
of
of what I
the...
was asking about the spear.
Or ask for that. Turns to Nye and pulls the scythe, says Karma. She, as far as I know, she made or imbued these in about the same time. Because these are kind of rare types of weapons, so they had to have been relatively custom. for all she didn't make a big deal of it.
Yeah,
Puts
she
it
hasn't
back.
made a big deal about any of it, which was weird. Modified Remy's armor was actually modified. Originally, it was for a now friend who's no longer with us. But that was again in a couple of days, if that.
Less.
Um, and my sword she already had on hand. Should have seen the look on my face when she first brought it out. If I remember correctly, I threatened to marry it.
You threatened to do things to it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh yeah, I kind of.
Handle it with
Okay,
great
no,
care and
in
skill
all
and so
fairness,
forth.
you threatened to propose to it, Nora threatened to do things to it.
But and the daggers that that Clarity has, or was it no? Was it the daggers? Or was it the
Yeah,
All
she
of them, yes.
she just had them.
right? I can't remember where you ended up with the sheath or the belt.
The belt we got.
No,
Okay.
the belt
We-
she gave you, she called in a favor, she said.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay. Right. I remember. But either way, basically, we're essentially a walking advertisement, inadvertently. I should have thought of that before we went there, but oops. But at least now we can tell her, hey, your store's still going. Don't know if you want to reach out to them, but if you do, they would very much appreciate more of her work.
Plus,
You know,
what were we going to do? Not bring her handiwork? If we hadn't had most of it, I think we'd be dead.
Yeah.
exactly. So, right.
As you've been walking and having
Well,
this conversation, you wind up at the doll's house. It's actually a fairly decent-sized shop. There's probably factory space in the back. The front window seems to be plush kittens, but they're moving like real ones. You can only tell they're plush because they've got the little button eyes, but they blink, and
Oh.
Oh,
there's-
that's not right. That's unnatural.
and it's kind of Teddy Ruxpin-ish, but they're shaped more like plush cats, but they gamble and they chase after.
Teddy Ruxpin or Furby or Tickle Me Elmo or
Probably a little bit closer to Teddy Ruxpin, but a bit more gambling kitten. You get them, in plushy kitten piles.
mhm. That's kind of cute. Ooh, I'm gonna look for one. I'm gonna look for one with kind of longer fur that looks a little bit bigger. Yes, I'm trying to find a plush Noop.
And and that there's probably not all the stock in the window, so you might
Mhm.
have to go in. But there do seem to be the slightly fluffier ones, but you can't quite see the color you're after. Not in the window, anyway.
Arvid,
I kind of yeah.
Grab.
We're gonna have to come back. I have.
I'm going to like start sort of pushing him towards the door.
No. We don't have time. I just wanted
No,
to pick up
Hazel.
and see if they had anything that I might want to get. They do. We're gonna come back.
Okay, we can do that. Yep.
We still have a bit of a walk, don't we?
Exactly.
Mhm.
A little. So let's keep going. Do we any of us want to poke our head into Sweetwater and Sisters? Looking at Hazel.
Yeah.
As you are approaching Sweetwater and Sisters, there is yet again, boom,
Ooh.
and bits of roof.
I run in.
oh, not
Hazel,
this
wait,
place again.
Jeez.
Oh,
Hazel.
boy.
I
You've got Edvar, who's apparently unshaken by any of this, just going, "We're gonna have to fix the roof again."
Where is the
again.
It's fine. This is why we have very solid walls and a very thin roof.
Oh,
I think I know what I did wrong! Don't bother her right now, she's creating.
Yeah, we were walking by. We were just basically gonna poke our head in and say hi and
And
continue
that
on. And then we
happened,
heard,
so I got worried.
yeah.
Okay, am I assuming you're all basically standing in front of the counter?
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess.
yeah, looks like it.
I beelined in.
Yeah,
All of you make a dex check. Sorry, saving throw. Oh my god.
What have you unleashed?
It's not so
Oh,
much
Remy!
as
Say
What
so.
have we done?
15.
and that's given the natural 20 that Froseth managed to roll. We're good there.
8.
21.
Wow.
You are an elf.
Go Team Elf, yeah.
Clarity, Nye, and Froseth. Froseth probably just because he's that observant and he's probably actually dragged Clarity and Nye with him a little ways. Pulls out of the way as this net lands on top of the rest of you. And it zaps. You take 6 lightning damage.
Ow!
Yeah?
Mary just screams internally.
It screams eternally.
It
That too.
works! From the stairwell. And Edvard going, Allie! These are customers! But it works! They wanted to see what I was gonna do. They can't see it if they're under it!
It's a very melodic, but it's a nonetheless.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it off. Why can't I switch it off? Why can't I switch it up?
My nose hairs are starting to curl.
Oh, good God. Oh, God. I'm at, like, full static. The hair is...
Yeah,
Oh, no.
This is how entangled are they?
They're pretty entangled. Unfortunately, it's weighted to the.
At least Remy is not taking that much damage. It's lightning.
Is
Because
she in her armor, or did she change for dinner at her parents?
Oh, wait, you did change.
Yeah, she changed.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Sorry.
boy.
Oh boy. So we're all sort of.
Yeah.
She does eventually manage to get to get the net off you, but you do take another 3 points of lightning damage as she pulls it off,
Oh, that's gonna sting.
and shows the emerald that which is set into the middle of the net. There will be crispy.
Ow!
Kidding!
Ow!
I just need to work on a couple of kinks.
That was crispier than things that get hit with Paler's Wrath. Oh, that stings.
Victory! And runs back up the stairs with the net. And Edvar's just set 3 healing potions on the on the countertop, going on the house.
Remy manages to refrain from comments.
I am actually thinking I may ask you to make a wisdom save as a willpower check for that.
Okay.
No, you're saying it.
Thanks a lot.
Look, I can't control. You want to try controlling her? You probably have a better shot at it than me. You can use a sword.
That's a fair point. Thank you, and I'll take one of the potions.
If you guys just want to
Remy just
roll
drinks.
your healing for that, because yeah, and he's trying to make the best of it, but
You know what?
Darvin might actually want to cast Mending on Clothes because there's burn marks
Mhm. Yeah, I was about.
I'm also
Less
casting
his
medicine.
because he can just make it look not burned.
Yeah,
But
Does
Exactly.
prestidigitation cover fixing hair?
sometimes
depends on what it's dealing with.
you usually with Hazel you can dry off hair that way, but it ends up poof anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just. I look like Cousin It right now.
No, cousin It's more long and down. You probably look a bit more like. Remember Popples?
No,
The
unfortunately.
little furry critters
Not
that are
quite,
just
man. Not quite.
poof.
Like
So
sort of
it
like a
really is
nuclear
just-
tribble, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tribble is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, like a koosh ball.
Verity! Verity, help! I can't see!
Oh, good
I
lord.
cast
Oh,
Mage
boy.
Hand and take out a brush, and it's just going.
Once I can see, I am hugging Clarity.
So
That
it
hint-
just looks like a floating brush. Just comes down.
Invisible mage hand just for hair.
You know what? Having experienced that in commiseration, I'm just gonna take like a few like some silver and just like slide it on the counter and be like, actually no, a gold. I'll just put an entire gold on the counter and just slide it over to him and be like, you poor man, buy a few drinks.
I think I'm going to have to do very much that. This has been all day. This is gonna be all night. I have coffee. Oh crap!
I have two
Don't
words for
shit.
you. I have two words for you, although I'm not actually.
Casting the spell Hold Person.
It doesn't work for long enough.
Mm.
It's only a minute, if memory serves. Darvin knows he's been on the receiving end of that one.
Yeah, that worked. Oh, yeah, whole person. Yeah, that worked really well on me. But yeah, only for about a minute. Yeah, caught me mid stride too. Good aim.
Honestly, I would just take a room in an inn, but I'm afraid of what this place would look like if I left her alone for too long.
I'm trying to. I'm like seriously considering sliding another gold, but no.
We should get going, shouldn't we?
Yes. Yes. Before I start throwing more money at him, just because he's got to deal with this. Yeah, let's get going. It's getting late.
Yes, when you and there really isn't time to stop in at Sugar and Spice. Crestwinds is seeing out the last of the muffin ragamuffins, and they coming from the upper windows is they smell of nicely roasted goose. For Remy, it is basically the smell of every birthday, festival day, and congratulations Remy dinner they've ever had. It's basically they've pulled out all your favorites for that for daughter coming home. So
Wow. I like walking up. Like I'm assuming we can smell it even as we're walking up. I'm just turning to Remy, going, "Damn, they turned it up." Jeez, Remy, you didn't. Wow, it smells amazing.
Remy is quite happy.
and when you get into the when
Wait, is that a smile? Holy crap!
when you get into the shop, it's you've got you got the parents sort of ushering upstairs, and the last remaining member of the family, little too old to be making an appearance downstairs, but you have the dog, Puffy. Actually named by Remy when Remy was small. Now very old, little puffball of a dog, but still manages to get enough speed to gloof, 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 gloof over at Remy, and it just sort of collapses on her feet, like pff, a
Aww.
little tail
He gets a
going.
scritch.
What is this, like an old Pomeranian?
Yeah, pretty much.
So God, it's mostly fluff.
That is adorable.
uh, you've.
Hey, Clarity, is this one inspirational too?
Oh, dogs are inspirational.
Oh! I don't know what's cuter, the dog or Clarity.
Um, this isn't your wizard friend.
No,
No, this is a new friend.
yes, he couldn't make it. He's left our company. He decided he would be a better scholar than an adventurer. This
Oh,
is
good.
Nye.
So we didn't scare him away.
No,
No.
no. This is Nye.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome to Crestwinds.
And I haven't met you yet, but my name's Clarity. I love your dog.
Yes. Meet Puffy. It's nice to meet you. Clarity.
It's very nice to meet you. Your daughter's wonderful.
She's our favorite rogue. She's best rogue. She likes cute things.
And Corey
And
sort of.
occasionally it's one.
Corey sort of leans down and offers the Clarity a handkerchief.
Thank you. So cute.
He's getting on, but obviously he still remembers Remy. It's finally got back up now. The little run tired him out, but it's just little puffy tail. It just follows Remy around. Clearly, Remy is. You think back to the Sullivan plantation. Clearly, Remy with the old dogs just.
Remy is some kind of dog magnet. And Clarity's having a meltdown from the cuteness.
Well, I don't imagine that poor Puffy is very long for this world. It's a good 15 years old now, but I'm glad you came home in enough time to at least see him again. So yes, we've set up dinner if you care to come.
It smells amazing. We could smell it just as we were coming up. Bravo! If it tastes as good as it smells,
Well,
you will make a bard at a loss for words.
as
That's
far as
impressive.
we've done our bits of research, I think we have a little ways to go yet before we match certain persons' parents. Glance at Hazel, but we try. Particularly when the prodigal daughter comes home.
I'm jumping over and hug.
Who's the hug for?
The
Corey.
whoever just
Corey. Pat. I've been clearly not used to dealing with affectionate child, because she's used to the slightly more reserved Remy. Okay, slightly more. Anyway, the dining room is not large. The household at the top of the bakery is not large. It's a bit of a cram for 8 people plus a little poofy dog. But they managed to get everybody in around the table, which is, it covered with this sort of rolls that look to be glazed with a sort of an orangey smelling honey and fresh butter and this big old goose and all the various bits and pieces. And they serve up, and the first thing out of Corey's mouth is, "So I understand that You had what was described as slightly more than sea hags this morning.
Oh.
Yes,
Word
Mhm.
gets
wasn't a
around.
problem.
Yeah, we handled it.
We ask about these things. We so seldom get to ask about what Remy's been up to. Also, we understand that there was a bit of a to-do with Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Carter won't be causing trouble anymore.
He kind of went.
He
Away.
crumbled.
Yeah,
Squish.
we mostly know about that because we had a few visitors this morning.
What sort of visitors?
Fairly displeased mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey's just great. They basically wanted to yell at you. We just didn't tell them where you were staying.
Well, if they come by again, you can tell them I'm staying at at the Bravo's post.
Don't
And
you-
if they have a problem,
I have jumped at
You're gonna
Remy
talk
and
to
I'm
me
like
about
hand
it.
over mouth.
No.
Not again.
Dex, we should Dex
old
check from
person.
Hazel for
Huh?
one thing.
Which
What
kind of
check?
check?
Dex,
Oh.
19.
Oh, wow.
you managed not to knock over anything on the table.
My jaws hit the floor at Hazel doing this because she managed to not knock anything onto the floor. I'm just wow.
No, do not say where.
Yeah,
Good
they have a
reflexes.
problem. They're gonna come to me.
Not there.
Well, that's where I am.
Remember
that's-
what happened?
Yeah, we nearly lost Flitty.
Yeah, well,
Don't want to schedule a bar fight.
And Corey is going, wait, you nearly lost it. What happened?
Our fairy dragon.
And Remy, oh, I was hoping to avoid this.
yes, you was.
What happened?
Well, just
Carter.
when
Carter tried to poison us.
What?
Yep.
oh,
This is really good goose. Don't you think this is really good goose?
I love you.
Very fine goose.
First is just
Oh.
agreeing and quietly helping himself to another portion while everybody's yelling. Because there's really nothing else he can do at this point.
Yeah. I love you, Clarity. He tried. Well, he didn't try. He hired someone to. It didn't. Most of it had a minor effect on but
He failed, obviously.
Yeah, we
So-
dealt with it. Flitty, unfortunately, Flitty is a fairy dragon.
We know the cookie fiend. We're wondering why he wasn't with you.
Yeah.
and, well,
Flitty didn't. Hazel truly came through in that moment because Flitty didn't.
This is why Paylor gets me.
But Flitty is okay. Flitty recovered, and we dealt with Carter.
Yes.
So, and come to find out, we really dealt with
Repeat.
Carter was dealing in things that he really shouldn't have been. Apparently.
Yes.
Yes,
So-
that part we heard about, and in fact, Corey, somewhat sheepish looking, Corey, actually threw that in the face of the gentleman who came calling. Something about what was it, Corey? If you really want to beat up our daughter over some black market artifact dealing idiot who couldn't actually fight our dog without some kind of help, then that is very much your misfortune, but I pity you.
Bravo.
Wow, Dad. Way to go.
No, that was the mother,
I was
actually.
mom. It was,
That was
Wow, Mom, way to go.
bravo.
I may worry about you constantly, but I am not going to let anybody disparage my Remy.
And then, mind you, this is coming from a bard. Way with the birds. Nicely done.
I'll tell you what. If any of them come back, I won't darken the door of the Bravo's boast with that kind of thing, but I will tell them that if they really want to pick a fight with you, they can put a message on the mercenary I'm an idiot side of the board, like everybody else.
Perfect.
That's fair. That's fair.
Morgus?
Remy. Remy, it reads true. I did want to mention actually that during our encounter with the Ocean Hag, it was rough, but the shot Remy got on that thing, damn, was impressive. Very impressive. Wrath of God, literally type of thing. Very amazing.
There's concern, but there's also pride. And, effectively, dinner goes pretty well, all things considered. You know, clearly the parents are trying not to be stifling, although there may be ever so slightly, you know, too much coddling and puffy sort of pinballs between Remy and Clarity's chairs.
I deliberately, mentioned that, but deliberately also didn't mention what happened, what was going
Before.
on up to that point.
That was very smart of him.
No, I'm getting stun locked by fear.
But
yeah, dessert is cupcakes.
Is it the cupcakes?
Well, the first thing you notice about them is what they look like. There's a purple one with a silver music notes, very delicately piped around the edges. There's a bright red one with what looks like dagger marks in one, which gets set in front of Clarity. There's a green one with a silver, with a golden symbol of Palor, with a hammer sort of part through it. That's Froseth's is silver, and they've had to be very careful. But the edge is divided up into 4 sections: the fire, earth, wind, and water. Just really delicately around the edges. Nye, unfortunately, does get Sigwald, which is a kind of a sky blue with an hourglass on it. We're gonna have to find out what yours is. We were doing it for the gentleman who enjoyed living up his own butt, but we thought we'd at least be nice about it.
I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Remy's is a navy blue with a silver symbol of Tritherian on it, and in the center of the table is a sort of a pretty crocheted bag that is full of fresh cookies of all varieties. We thought we'd make that for yourselves and your dragon friend.
Yep, he's
That was a very good idea.
he's currently residing at the Bravo's Boast and taking a well-deserved rest.
Well,
I gotta say, I was again. Since I'm new to a lot of this, the quiet that went over the crowd when we realized what was happening, and Hazel immediately doing what she does. The silence was incredible.
we troubled ourselves to have a bit of an investigation about mercenaries when Remy left to join the companies, and Corey just rolls her eyes and goes, "Well, I was just curious about what kind of life my daughter was going to end up leading, but I felt a little better when I found out that they take each other seriously and they
Mm-hmm.
care. But anyway, you'll have to tell me if I got it right. And gestures to the cupcakes.
And I'm gonna bite into one, and assuming that it is dead on, as soon as I taste it, just tear. Just, just,
Yeah, because it's
just
only
that.
it's only
It's only the
Froseth.
one, and it's just.
Yeah, it's only Froseth, Hazel, Clarity, and Darvin who'd really know. But it does just for those four, it does just bring back when you were so new and just trying to get Darvin paid.
And it's just every like, and that just,
And Mira and Petunia and Nora.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And all of the barony, literally my home,
Oh boy.
my first home. It's just, but it's just, I'm good. I'm just, it's just the one, but I'm like, it's perfect.
And Corey brings out the handkerchief again.
Thank you.
Dorcas. Reach. Pat.
You actually feel this little weight on your feet as Puffy has decided that for a moment there does need to be comfort for the Barty man. So it really is just bumble, 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 sits on feet for a second, headbutt, boom, and then goes back to Remy.
Just this ball of fluff and sort of.
Remy, I love your dog.
Yeah, Puffy really is Remy's dog. He tolerates us. But yeah, there's coffee and
Mhm.
post coffee liqueur of some description, sort of a brandy and Benedictine kind of a thing, and it's actually come to the point where it was so not awkward that you look outside. And one of the things that Remy is a bit more used to than the rest of you is actual clocks are sort of clock tower things, if that, in bigger cities. Hazel's house had clock on the mantle, but she almost never looked at it. So mostly you guys gauge by sun. Remy knows the time from actual timepieces because they're more common here. And she looks and realizes that you were going to be talking to Torin about half an hour ago. You guys just noticed it's got darker than than.
Wow.
Uh
Huh? What?
I'm sorry. Were you meant to be somewhere?
oh.
Yes.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Well,
Wow. This has been so wonderful. I completely lost track.
well, we're glad you enjoyed. I mean,
You're amazing.
obviously, do feel free to pop by again before you go.
We will.
We're trying not to ask. We're just extending the invitation, even though you can see Corey just with the oh please, oh please, oh please, oh please, I don't see you enough. Look,
We are definitely going to be visiting again before we leave, if not more than that.
a glomp hug for Remy. Good. Puffy will be happy to see more of you. Little stumpy tail. Oh, we put this together for your dragon friend as well. Come out with. They actually have Tupperware of sorts. It's weird. It's glass. It's clear like glass, but it's not glass, and it sort of seals shut at the top. And
What the?
it's it actually turns it upside down to show that it's not coming out. It's some of the leftovers from dinner. We thought your little
Oh,
dragons
yes.
might like those too. And you'll have to come back to return the container.
Yes,
That's
yes,
fair.
you will. Yes,
fair.
you will.
That's really sneaky and really cool.
And beautiful. You are every bit as wonderful as Remy is.
In very different ways, but we like
Well,
to think we
yes,
raised
but
her well. Anyway, off
yes.
with you. We don't want to make you late. More awkward hug from Amel, and Corey gets in another glump. And on that note, we are pretty much just perfectly timed. So next session we will deal with Torin telling you what the next leg of your adventure is liable to be.